Today I will talk about China's trillion-dollar project and their road to superpower. Everyone knows China has been very successful in many aspects over the last 30 years or so, and we all assume various things, and then there are the conspiracy theories as well. However, I will only mention the two very important strategies that I believe are the key strategies for them to be on the right path to superpower in the coming years. Since the 1980s, China has roughly doubled their GDP every 8 years. More than 800 million people have been lifted out of poverty, and between 2000 and 2018 over 47% of the population has now risen to middle class. Cities that were not recognized by most of us are now very large, busy cities. Skyscrapers now exist all over the country. The country now has the world's fastest high-speed rail line between Beijing and Shanghai, and the world's first commercial maglev line reaching a top speed of 267 miles per hour. As of 2021, China's high-speed rail network stretches out to 37,900 kilometers, while the entire rail track length runs for over 141,000 kilometers. Now, before we jump into conclusions and conspiracy theories, let us first look into why and how China was able to make all these happen. Firstly, population plays a vital role. The Shanghai to Beijing railway line alone serves about 300 million people. Globalization has led to an increase in demand for people needing to use the railways by a lot. The increase in rate of urbanization has led to an increase in demand of goods being needed to be delivered faster from one city to another. Moreover, China's heavily congested airspace causes frequent delays in flights, which again goes in favor of railways. Due to his massive demand, the Chinese government is able to make big investments in high-speed technology. Almost all of China's rail is controlled by state-owned China Railway Corporation. This enables them to produce high volumes of materials. Moreover, the country has standardized almost every aspect of the project. This makes matters simpler as the designs throughout the country is the same. This lowers production cost. In Europe, high-speed rail costs about 25 million US to 39 million US per kilometer, and in USA it costs about 55 million US, whereas in China it costs about 17 million US. There are a number of reasons for this lower production cost. Still now, labor costs are very low in China, which allows them to lower the production cost. The cost of high-speed railway tickets are much lower compared to other nations. China does not want to profit on the constructions of these railway projects because they believe the impact of these high-speed railway projects are more valuable due to the increase in networking. U.S. Transport Secretary said he would love to see America lead the world in high-speed rails. However, it is very unlikely to see that happening in the next 2 decades, as chances of U.S. beating by building about 70,000 kilometers of tracks is going to be very difficult. Moving on, one of the biggest initiatives taken by China in their race to be a superpower is the One Belt One Road initiative. The initiative was first unveiled by Chinese leaders Xi Jinping in September and October 2013 during visits to Kazakhstan and Indonesia. The initiative was given intensive coverage by Chinese state media. The Belt and Road Initiative addresses a gap in the infrastructure, which is why it has the capability of accelerating economic growth across the Asia-Pacific, Africa and Central and Eastern Europe as well. According to WPC reports, it was estimated that Asia excluding China would require up to 900 billion US in infrastructure investments, mostly in debt instruments. Already, recent estimates list the Belt and Road Initiative as one of the largest infrastructure and investment projects in history, covering more than 68 countries, including 65% of the world's population and 40% of the global gross domestic product. The project builds on the old trade routes that once connected China to the west, Marco Polo and Ibn Battuta's routes in the north, and the maritime expedition routes of Ming Dynasty admiral in the south. As for the finance part, the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, first proposed in October 2013, is a development bank dedicated to lending for infrastructure projects. As of 2015, China announced that over 160 billion worth of infrastructure-related projects were in planning or construction. The primary goals of AIIB are to address the expanding infrastructure needs across Asia, enhance regional integration, promote economic development, and improve public access to social services. To date, more than 130 countries have issued endorsements. Russia and China now has altogether 150 common projects, including natural gas pipelines and the Polar Silk Road. In March 2015, Russia's first deputy prime minister Igor asserted that Russia should not view the Silk Road economic belt as a threat to its traditional regional sphere of influence, but as an opportunity for the Eurasian Economic Union. Singapore has also shown their support towards Belt and Road Initiative by being one of the largest investors in the project, while the Philippines, who has always had close ties with USA, has now adjusted its policies in favor of Chinese claims in the South China Sea under Philippines President Rodrigo, who expects support of his plans for massive infrastructure expansion. In April 2019, China engaged in an array of partnerships called Build the Belt and Road, Share Development and Prosperity with 18 Arab countries. The general stand of African countries sees BRI as a tremendous opportunity for independence from foreign aid and influence. Meanwhile, Greece, Croatia and 14 other Eastern European countries are already dealing with China within the framework of the BRI. In March 2019, Italy was the first member of the group of 7 nations to join the BRI. The new partners signed a memorandum of understanding worth €2.5 billion across an array of sectors such as transport, logistics and port infrastructure. However, as opposition grows, the United States proposes a counter-initiative called the Free and Open Indo-Pacific Strategy. U.S. officials have articulated the strategy as having 3 pillars, which are security, economics, and governance. Government officials in India have repeatedly objected to China's Belt and Road Initiative. Some Western governments have accused the Belt and Road Initiative of being neo-colonial due to what they allege is China's practice of debt trap diplomacy to fund the initiative's infrastructure projects. The idea of debt trap diplomacy was created by an Indian think tank before being expanded on by papers by 2 Harvard students, which gained media attention. The Belt and Road Initiative is based on 5 cooperation priorities: 1 policy coordination, 2 facilities connectivity, 3 unimpeded trade, 4 financial integration, 5 people-to-people bonds. Do I think this is good or bad? I think Asia has been in need of a massive development for a long time now, and whichever country wants to invest in them, it will eventually help the countries that are in need of these investments. Of course, there are cons, but everything has pros and cons, and I think here the pros exceed the cons.